Look at Doug's screen,
Yeah.
Doug.
That is weird. Wow, I'm like, what's up, Dad? I'm gonna put my arm around you, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Lane is always looking out over all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you everybody for being here, and Vicki, thank you very much for gracing us with your beautiful face and smile. And yes, we do wish you were here. Come anytime.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Benson, do you want to just go over the agenda and then I'll introduce Vicki?
Okay, I will. So welcome everybody. It's Vibrant Club's training weekend, and we're happy to be here. So today we're gonna go over basically now is our tactical training, right? So last couple months, we've been going to pre-pets, some of you pre-pets, pets, been getting a lot of information from Rotary about the direction Rotary wants to go, things we want to do. But now it's time to drill it down to, so my presentation today is 10 things you need to do now to get ready, or at least in the next 3 months to get ready for our leadership transition, which is a big piece. So Vicki's gonna talk for a while, and then I'll take over. I'm gonna do a little presentation. We'll have a breakout room, and then we'll come back. We're gonna go over the strategic plan worksheet that I sent out to everybody. And then we're gonna do some PI work towards the end of the meeting. And then Naomi and I will wrap it up at the end. So it'll be a fun, quick 2 hours. And so we're happy that you guys decided to join us. We know that you have lots of options on Saturday morning, like sleeping. So so that would be a good thing for you guys to join us today. So Naomi, go ahead.
Okay, but some of us have been on Zoom from 6 o'clock this morning with the Zones Interact webinar. So there's some of our members are on that one. And then we had a club runner training at 8 o'clock. So we've been pretty busy today. But I wanted Vicki to come and address us because not only is she inspiring, but her Rotary IQ, and that's what Benton calls it, Rotary IQ. Rotary IQ spans all of the areas of Rotary, and I thought that she could really kind of bring it all together on what a Vibrant Club is and why this is important. Well, let me tell you about Vicki. She's a member of the Sparks Club in Nevada. She joined in 1992 as the first female member of the club, president in 2004. Sparks is a district 5190 part of that district, and she was district governor in 2013. She was nominated as the director for Rotary International, and she will represent Zone 2627 in July. And Zone 2627 covers 1,200 clubs, 71,000 Rotary members, 14 states in the western side of the United States, and 1 in Canada. But the 17 directors around the world serve 2-year terms, so she will be representing our zone for 2 years. But her Rotary IQ, she is the Getz chair. She was involved with pets education, the Rotary International Assembly training leader, zone public image coordinator. She was a district trainer, involved with RILA in the district. Youth exchange. Her daughter went to Chile, so as a youth exchange student. She was the district chair for youth services, and she created the Rotary 8th grade leadership program. She and Tim, her husband, are blessed with a blended family of 7 children, 6 grandchildren, and 2 of her children are Rotarians. So you can see right there, she's got so much in Rotary IQ. Vicki, over to you.
Thank you, Naomi. I'm up to 9 grandchildren, so that's awesome. Great to see all of you. It looks like we had a few more just join us. So welcome to everyone. The Interact meeting maybe had a little break. So Naomi just asked me to come and greet you and thank you for serving your clubs. Thank you for being involved with your clubs, and talk just a little bit about a Vibrant Club. And so my first question, I'm going to put you to work right away. So get ready with your chat, or if we want to talk, either one is fine with me, is talking about what is a vibrant club. So I looked at vibrant. What does vibrant mean? Vibrant means full of energy and enthusiasm. But what is a vibrant club? What does that mean to you? So if you could help me out, who wants to weigh in with what is a vibrant club? You can unmute or type engaged. Okay, I see engaged in chat.
Awesome
What else?
fellowship.
What was that?
Awesome fellowship.
Awesome fellowship, inclusive. The members are actively engaged, attractive to, oh my gosh, now we've got a waterfall going in the chat. I love it. Active, innovative, attractive to prospective members, working on all cylinders, a can-do club, absolutely. Participation, active in the community, makes you feel welcomed. Yeah, a club that tries out new ideas, where the community knows what you're doing, inviting, diverse, fun, absolutely. So now we know what a vibrant club is, and I want to be part of a vibrant club, don't you? I mean, that's how, those of you who saw me as were part of Far West Pets, talking about making our members love Rotary.
Okay,
I'm on
sorry.
Zoom.
That's okay. I think Janice is.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's okay. So we're talking about the end in mind, starting with the end in mind of having a club that's all of these wonderful things that you have just put out there and even more. And so it comes down to, so behind me is our strategic plan, right? The 4 priorities of our strategic plan that I know you've all been talking about. It's kind of the end game. It's where we're headed, right? It's where you want to get as your club, as a vibrant club. And so when we talk about the priorities, it's just like the best things in Rotary. The best things in Rotary come from our members. And so these 4 priorities actually came from Rotarians and Rotaractors as part of the process of putting together our vision and the strategic plan for the next 5 years for Rotary. We had interviews, surveys, focus groups with members, with Rotarians and Rotaractors. And these 4 priorities came from that. And I point that out because it's all about our members and it's all about our clubs. This is not a strategic plan that Rotary is pushing down on you. This is a strategic plan that was created by members. And what it gives us is a roadmap for the next 5 years. It gives us a common language, a way that we can all talk about where we're headed and align ourselves for even more impact from our work as Rotarians and the efforts of our clubs. So I see that as just so positive. And so then when we start to think about, well, what's a vibrant club workshop? Well, it's focused on how our clubs can bring these priorities to life, can bring our vision to life. And one of the things that we used to do is we used to have membership training, and we'd have foundation training, and we'd have a meeting for international service, a meeting for community service, a meeting for public image and brand. And while we still have some special needs to do some additional information on each of those topics, what a vibrant club workshop is intended to do is to bring all of these pieces together more holistically. And I know you must have a beautiful word in the Hawaiian language for this, but it's the synergy of bringing all these pieces together and honoring all these pieces and how they can work together to give us the very best impact. So that's the purpose of today, is to bring all of these pieces together. How does something that your club do help us enhance our participant engagement? More actively engaging not only our members, but maybe others who have exposure to Rotary as a beneficiary, as a partner, as a donor, as a community member. How does it help us expand our reach? Creating more awareness of our club and what we do, why we do it within our community, within our greater community. How does it help us increase our ability to adapt? Being open to new ideas and new opportunities and new ways to do things. And how does it increase our impact? By keeping our focus on creating lasting change, like our vision statement says. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across our globe in our community, and in ourselves. So I want to thank you for being here today, being part of this discussion, to bring this to life in your own club, to help you do everything you can to maximize, to synergize, to bring all the pieces together in your club for the benefit of your members, for the benefit of your community, and for the benefit of the world. So thank you so much. I hope you have a fabulous experience today. I know you will. You've got great people leading you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or just to say thank you. Thank you for having me here today. And again, thank you for serving.
Okay, guys, here's your chance to ask Vicki some questions. I know you have a few minutes, Vicki, so.
Sure.
If you have a question, unmute yourself and we'll let it fly. Or put it in the chat if you're bashful.
I loved all that. The response in the chat is so fabulous. I hope you save that. Oh, we could make a word cloud out of them.
Yeah.
These are our vibrant clubs.
Hey, Vicki, I was wondering what's one thing that makes that your club does that makes it such a vibrant club there?
You know, I think that vibrancy comes down one thing, Lane. So my club is an older club, like 78 years old, something like that. This has been a real challenge for us not meeting in person because that personal fellowship has been such a backbone of our relationship in our club. One thing that's really interesting that we've been doing is I'm going to go to increase our impact. So for the first time, our club has taken on the largest project it ever has in its 78-year history, and that's building an accessible playground in one of our community parks in Sparks. And I'm just, you know, that I think really creates some vibrancy because it not only engages our current members, it's creating more visibility for us in the community, which is creating more attraction for people in the club. It is certainly increasing our impact, and we are certainly adapting. We had to go to new funding sources and a new model to be able to bring a project of that size to our community. And definitely the ability to look at that creating lasting change piece. I mean, we've always done dictionaries. We've also always done cleanups in the parks. We've always done a fishing day. We've done things like that. This has really taken our club to a new level, and I believe it's taking us to the next level of being a vibrant club. That's just a personal example. Thank you, Lane.
Oh, thanks, Vicki.
Okay, any other questions for Vicki while we have her?
Oh, let's see here. During my year as club president, what was the most challenging issue and how did you solve or improve on this issue? Boy, that was like in the dark ages, I have to tell you. That was I'll tell you what was most exciting about my year as president was getting to know my members in a different way. So my club at that point was about 90 members, 90 or 100 members. And my biggest fear was being able to remember everybody's names, even though I'd been in the club for quite a while. But I'll tell you, it was such an opportunity to get to know my members differently because I was able to, I participated in as many of the committee meetings and any of those types of things as I could. And it was such a gift. In fact, they had to take the gavel. I think they had to take the gavel out of my hand by force at the end of the year because I was having such a great time. I wanted to keep serving as club president. It truly is the best job in Rotary.
Okay.
I think I'll let you all get on with the rest of your day.
Okay, Vicki. Well, hey, thanks a lot. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have you join us. And I know just your presence is inspiring to us. So that's great. And, you know, thanks for like doing the flower and everything, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the pleasure and the honor is mine. And I want to thank you all for everything that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care. Appreciate
Bye
it.
now.
Bye.
Thanks, Vicki.
Okay. NAMI, you want to say anything before we get started?
Thank you, Benson, for putting this all together, and thank you all for being here. You know, Vicki is so inspiring, and you know, just to have her here was a treat, right? But you know, as the leader of your club, Vicky's right. It could be really a lot of fun or very challenging, but you've got resources. You've got people who can help you. You're not alone. So we want to be here. The district is here to support you. It's the club, the members that are more important, and we want to hear from you to let the district know what we can do to support all of you. So this Vibrant Club workshop is not to actually get to your action plan, but try to understand what the components are so that you can have a very successful workshop in your own club, and that you can gather that information from your members. But what she said about reaching out to your members, we would like all of you to reach out to every single member in your club and see if they're okay. See if they need help from the flooding or anything that they need help, and get together from the club level to help that member. In Hanalei, the flooding and the Hanalei Club is just doing a fantastic job helping their community. Ted, there's a fundraiser for Hanalei, right? Do you want to let everybody know about that so we can get maybe some money over to Hanalei? Because that's what Rotary is about, is that fellowship, but also caring for our own members. And one way is to support Hanalei. Ted?
Yes, the Hanalei Club jumped into action the afternoon after the landslide. And they immediately started marshaling resources together to get food to the food pantry on the other side of the landslide. They worked to buy gasoline for the boats to shuttle supplies back and forth to Hanalei. And they also got right to work on a shuttle van to take people back and forth to the boats. So they have set up a donation page. I'll post that link in the chat. If you are able, they would appreciate any other donations that you can provide to support their work. They really are an example of people with action, and they've done a great job.
Thank you. Okay, Benson.
Okay, it's me. All right, gang. First thing out of the bat, I want to tell you guys that I switched over Zoom accounts. All right, and so this is actually the first time I've used this Zoom account for this training, right? Because usually it's on a different one. So I just noticed down at the bottom that there is no button for the breakout rooms. Okay, so this is going to be our sort of exercise on ability to adapt. So now, Naomi, I just made you host so that you can admit people and do whatever you want, because now you have all the power. And so we're going to walk through some things today, and then we are going to have at the end of the meeting somebody from, I believe, Rotary International is going to talk to us about public image, correct, Naomi? Okay, good. All right, so let me share screen here. We'll get it going. When I open up the screen, you'll see the breakout room question, and unless we can figure out how to do breakout rooms, we're not going to do the breakout room question. Okay, here we go. All right, so now we are actually going to talk about transitions. So I'm going to minimize this so we can do it. Okay, so as I was mentioning at the onset, that for the last few months, we've been getting, especially you guys that are president-elects now, we've been getting a lot of training about what Rotary is, our 4 strategic areas, what Rotary's action plan is. And so now it's time to drill it down to the tactical level in terms of like, all right, what do I need to do now to run my club? What's my checklist of things that I need to do, like starting today to make this transition happen? So first thing is that right now, the next 3 months ahead, they're really critical for Rotary clubs all over the world. And the reason they're they're critical for Rotary clubs all over the world and especially here, is that our leadership is transitioning. Now we can decide basically in these next, what's going to happen in these next 3 months, whether we're going to end our year with a big exclamation point, or whether it's going to be just kind of an ellipsis that says, you know, to be continued, right? So I put this statement up here because this was me at this period of time, about 2 years ago, my first year as club president. All right, and when I was just about in the last quarter. Well, I wasn't approaching the last quarter of my presidency, and he asked me, well, how was your year as president? I said, you know, I really didn't understand my job until my term was just about over. And so now, luckily, I got to be president again. So I had a Hanaho year, and then, you know, I did markedly better my second year than I did my first year, because my second year I actually understood what I was supposed to be doing. And the reason that I think a lot of, and maybe a lot of you guys that are presidents right now are saying this to yourself, you know, I didn't really understand my job till it was almost over. And the reason that is because it wasn't made really clear to you, or maybe you didn't have a clear understanding of what the job was going to entail and what specifically you had to do to make it happen. Okay, and so part of what we're going to try to do, just launching right now with this Vibrant Clubs training, is to make sure that everybody's really clear about what they're supposed to be doing going into it. And you guys that are the sitting presidents right now, what you need to do to close out your year and end out strong. Because what we want to do is we want to end the year with a big exclamation point, like, wow, we did it. And then we want to start the incoming year with a big capital letter, like, we're ready to go and we know what's going on. So the reason why there's so many people, there's more people on this meeting than just the PEs, because typically we're talking to just the president-elects right now. But we want to talk to the presidents, we want to talk to the president-elects, and those clubs that have club trainers, we want to talk to those people too. So that's why we have the group that we have today, because what it's going to take is it's going to take a combined effort from everybody in your club, the leadership of your entire club, including your board members, past presidents, whoever the stakeholders are in your club. Okay, so what I did is I put together a list of 10 things that we can do, like right now, starting today, that'll help us to make a smooth and effective transition. Now, these aren't just 10 suggestions. These are 10 things you actually have to do. You know, like when you pick up a magazine and they have this, like, you know, 10 reasons why you're going bald, or, you know, 10 ways to live a healthier life. No, these are 10 things you should actually do. Okay, so let's start with number one. So the first thing is you have to assemble your club leadership, all right? And that's the president-elect, the club trainer, which if your club is fully engaged, they ought to be on this call today. Your club board members, past presidents, there's a core group that makes your club up, all right? In our club, there's about 15 people that's kind of like that core group. And you know who that core group is, right? They're the people that are most active in your club. They're the people that when you ring the bell, they show up and that they're highly active. Okay, you have to get these people together and work on this transition together. Because when I was president, I was the incoming president. It was pretty much left to me. I mean, the sitting president was helpful, but she just said, hey, you know, you're the incoming guy, get it all set up, whatever it is. I didn't realize that what it took was to get everybody together. Before we go further, I just want to say that, you know, all of this stuff, like Vicki was talking about, the 4 strategic areas, this stuff that I'm putting together is not just stuff I came up with off the top of my head. This is stuff that people have told me over the last couple of years, you know. And so if you want to unmute, you want to put something in the chat, Naomi, you can monitor the chat, and anything comes up that you guys want to add. Like, you know, Benson, you forgot to mention, you know, this or that or whatever it is, launch it in there, and then I'll just add it in there into this, because this is something that I'm hoping to do, every year when we reach this point at the end of March. Okay, so that's thing number one. Now, if you feel like you want to jot them down, I was going to ask you at the end of this, going into breakout rooms, what are the things that made the most impact to you? Okay, well, that's thing number one. Okay, so thing number two is to create a plan. And now we're going to work on this in the second half of our presentation today. We're actually going to get that strategic plan flyer out. Now, I sent it out to everybody. If you don't have it, I'll bring it up and we're going to kind of walk through it. So the strategic plan, I always thought, was something that I, as the incoming president, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make some notes about it. No, it's something that you do together as a group. And so the main takeaway from today's meeting is here's the plan in terms of what you guys need to do. And then we're going to start out filling out this club strategic plan. All right. Now, here's the thing that happens like when you set goals, and you guys that are goal setters, or you want to create a plan, or you're a visionary, or you want to create this roadway going forward, right? What you find out over time is that unless you have a date or a driver, the goal just really doesn't get done, right? So you have to put a date on it, and you'll see that as we start walking through the strategic plan after this session is over, that they ask, okay, who's the person that's going to be in charge, and then who's going to be, or what the date is going to be, right? So you need a date and you need a driver. Okay, the third thing is got to establish some dates in which you're going to check in on your plan, because the plan is like it's a dynamic thing. It's like a business plan, so you're constantly looking at it to see if you're staying on the track or veering off or whatever's going on. All right, and then the fourth thing, which is something that most of the clubs, maybe they aren't aware of this, but it's the board's job to make sure that you're accountable for the execution of the plan and to make sure that you're staying online. All right, so my suggestion would be at least every quarter that your board gets together and they start looking at the goals that they set for the plan, and to make sure you're staying on it, because maybe you got to adjust the goal, maybe you got to adjust, what direction you guys are heading on it, because it is a dynamic thing and it will move. Okay, so that's number two. Okay, make a plan. All right, number three, and this is really important, is to finish up this year strong. So if you are a sitting president right now and you're thinking, okay, well, good, I got the PE in here, I'm going to let them do all the work and I can just kind of cruise on down, because it has been sort of the culture for once the PE comes back from pets, that the sitting president just can start gearing downward and just, right off into the sunset, no can do. All right, so here's three things that you can do right now. Okay, allocate time and resources to finish projects, whatever you're doing, by June 30th. Like our club has a big tree planting thing. Now, we've been planning this thing, and we've had a lot of reasons why it's kind of got delayed, but now it's got to get done. We're in crunch time, and so we're going to finish that. Okay, you're going to sit down with your team, and you're going to assess what goals you set for this year if you're the sitting president, and figure out which of them that you can accomplish in the next 3 months. And if you can't accomplish it, what goals need to be extended onto the 2021-2022 year. All right. Now, Naomi is going to help with this, because this is really important to everybody. And that's to finish all the reports, okay, close out all the books, okay, and to provide all the information you need in Club Central. Now, because Club Central, if you've been putting or monitoring your goals and adding in your projects and everything as you've been going, that's, you're actually supposed to be doing that. They will ask you to summarize stuff at the end of the year. So Naomi, I don't know if you want to add anything about, closing everything down and finishing out strong. while we're on this slide right now? Because I know you know more about it than I do.
Sure, thanks. There are many goals in the Rotary Club Central, and you do need to go back in there, and some of them you have to check achieved. Some of them Rotary International would put in the information, but we want to, especially for the projects, to have a total for our district on how many projects, how many hours, how many dollars that we've put into projects, so that we can let the world know that Rotary did all of these things. And so if you can get into Rotary Club Central, if you need help, I'd be very happy to help you with that. We do already have about 5 clubs that have achieved all of the goals and will be earning the Rotary certificate, the citation. So get in there, put in if you need to change some of the goals, you still can, get into Rotary Club Central. If you don't know how, we can have a training, but I would be very happy to sit with you and go one-on-one with you on Rotary Club Central. So look at your goals now and see which ones you need to work on, because there's still time to finish up this year strong. Thanks, Benson.
Okay, good one, Naomi. And so, as we go flip through some of these slides, those of you who are kind of leaders in that area, like we're gonna, toward the end, I'm gonna have a thing about updating all your social media. So that would be a good time for, Ted to click in on that. Just give me a heads up, Ted. Okay, all right, so here's the next thing, is to assess your training needs, okay? Because there are people that are going to be in your club and they're going to be assuming new jobs and responsibilities, especially if you're going to get a new secretary and a new treasurer, okay? So case in point, like our club had the same treasurer for 15 years. And so when we got a new treasurer a couple of years ago, which by the way was my wife Zayda, I had to talk her and I had to actually make a deal so she would do it. Okay, so he had 15 years of records to download to Zayda so that she could take over. So if somebody is assuming a new position now, I mean, obviously, if you're going to be the president of the club, you're getting a lot of training right now in terms of what to do in your new position. But the first question you have to ask is, do people who are assuming new positions know the responsibilities of their jobs? And we had a training in February. Thank you, Lorraine. I know you're on the call. That was led by Lorraine Davis to talk about board members, because the number one new position that takes place in every new club is new board members, and a lot of times. There's no prepping, there's no training or anything for a board member in terms of what your responsibilities are, what you're supposed to be doing. So one of the things that we're going to be doing at the district level is trying to provide more training for new incoming board members. Okay, the second thing is, do people need technical training on platforms or devices? So if you're an incoming president, all right, and you have no clue how to run a Zoom meeting, we need to identify you, or you need to identify yourself quickly to us so that we can get that going. Now, if you're planning to do a hybrid meeting and you never did a hybrid meeting before, that's all that stuff that you could start working that out in the next 3 months, either from the people that are in your club or get some training from us at the district level. Okay. The third thing is, what district or learning center resources do we have? Now, thank God this year, Naomi put together the training library, as we call it. The Portuguese translation would be library. Hey, somebody laughed, but that's good. Okay, good. I need to have that feedback so I can kind of keep on the roll. All right, so we have a lot of resources in our district library. Okay, and then also the Learning Center. If you guys haven't ever been on Rotary.org, the Learning Center, man, there's hundreds of courses that you can You can get on there, everything from leadership to how to be a club secretary to organizing board meetings, all of that. Okay, and then the last thing is, how do I raise the Rotary IQ of my entire club? That's everybody in your club. And so this year, and we're going to continue it next year, is we encourage every single person in the club to go on Rotary.org and take the Rotary Basics course. It's 15 minutes. It's all online. It just gives you some basic information about Rotary. And the feedback that I got from a lot of people who took it was that, man, you know, I've been a Rotarian for a long time, and I took it, and there's stuff about it, that I didn't really know about Rotary. So why do we want to do that? Because we know, right, that informed Rotarians are engaged Rotarians, right? Scan, if you got it on gallery view right now, scan through all the people that are on this call right now. The reason that they're on this call is that they are probably the most informed people in terms of what is Rotary, what does Rotary do in our district. And so, and you'll find that the more people know about Rotary, the more they want to be a board member, a committee chair, a president, and incoming president. So assess your training needs. That's number 4. Okay, so you guessed that the next one would be number 5. Okay. So the next thing, if you haven't done a budget yet, and if you don't know how to do a budget, please reach out to us. We'll work with you on that. So why is a budget important? Okay, budget dictates activity level, right? If so, one of the things that we're trying to do is like work with clubs that are struggling to keep themselves together. And one of the first things that they say is, we don't have any money. Okay, so we don't have any money, so we can't really do anything, right? So if you have clubs that have money, that just allows them to do more. You know, it's just like a person, right? If I have a lot of money, I have more options. If I don't have much money, I don't have very many options. Okay, so budget is important. Okay, budget will also create incentive to increase membership, because what's our biggest source of money, right? Besides fundraising, it's also our membership dues. So, you know, you could look at your budget and say, wow, you know, we don't have much budget to do the kinds of activities we want to do. And one of the best ways to solve that is to increase membership, right? And then, of course, budget will also help for planning for fundraising. So if you don't have much money, then, you know, your budget will make it really clear that you need to do some fundraising. So anything on that one, Naomi? You want to add anything on that? Okay, good. Excuse me. Okay, so trying to go in continuity, I am going to go to number 6 now. All right, so number 6 would be book your calendar. All right, now, Rotary has themes for every month, okay? So like, for example, November is Foundation Month. Like a lot of you guys already know that, right? So that just helps you to think about, like, if you want to do events or special things. I know that our club always, does something in November around Foundation Month. Okay, now your club already has a historic calendar. So if you go back years and years and years, I mean, your club typically will do the same things on the same dates or around the same time every year. All right, so take that, whatever historic calendar you guys got, and just start plugging in additional things you guys want to do. Put your trainings in there, put your meetings in there, put your board meetings in there. Okay, now I like to suggest that clubs go on what's called the quarter system. And that means that you try to put down everything you can a quarter ahead of time. So in this next 3-month transition period, we're going to be focusing on trying to get every club's first quarter calendar, which is July, August, September, packed. Okay, get all your speakers lined up, get all your events lined up. If you're going to have a membership drive, first quarter of the year for Rotary is typically membership push. Okay, so if you guys are going to do some type of membership drive, then put that in there. Any service projects you got, anything that you can. So by the time that we get together on our first Monday meeting of June, we're hoping that every club has their first calendar, their first quarter of their calendar completely done, put to bed. So if you can stay a quarter ahead, so that once we hit July and we start working through that quarter, by the time we hit September 1, then your next quarter, which will be October, November, December, that should all be lined up, all your speakers lined up, events lined up, your fundraising events, typically your holiday parties, whatever it is. That should all be lined up. Okay, why is that? Because people like advance notice, and the further ahead you can get, and so people can put it in their calendar. I know for me, if something is 3 months ahead and I put it in there, typically people now because the advance notice used to be 2 weeks, now it's like 2 hours, right? People will say, oh, hey, can you join us for this meeting today at 11? Where they used to ask me if hey, 2 weeks from now, can you make this meeting? So the time frames are getting shorter and shorter. So the farther out you can go and nail stuff down on the calendar, the better it can be. Okay, and I know Ted's gonna smile on this one, is promote your calendar on social media. If you got speakers coming up, yay! Yeah, if you got big speakers coming up, you got events coming up, put it out there, because that's one of the best ways to attract people to your club, is to let them know, hey, we got stuff on the calendar, it's rocking and rolling, and you could be a part of that. Okay, so that's number 6. Number 7. Number 7 is plan a club assembly, and I'm meeting in the next 3 months, so somewhere April, May, June, pick a club meeting, get a club assembly. Now, whether you can do it in person or you're going to do it virtually, the reason why you want to plan a club assembly is you want to let them know what's going on. So all of this, planning, you put your calendar together, put your budget together. You're going to get training for, people that are in strategic positions. You want to let your club know that we are doing all of this because we're an active club. We are a vibrant club. And we want everybody to be a part of it. So basically, it's the consensus buy-in, right? Get everybody on board. Say, again, here's the plan. Here's what we're going to do. Anybody got any questions? Here's what you can do just as a member. Now, in my mind, in my club, even though I do a lot of work at the district level, it really comes down to what are we doing at the club level in the individual club level. Okay, so when I'm thinking about stuff, even at the district level, I'm thinking about this one guy in a club. His name's Justin Pequeño. Now, Justin Pequeño is a pretty active guy. Now, he doesn't come to every single club meeting, but he is active, and if I call him, he'll do stuff, right? And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so this program that I just learned about, this Vibrant Clubs, how am I going to get that information down to Justin so that Justin can do something with it? Because part of what happens, at the club leadership level is that the club leaders all have this information. They know what the 4 strategic areas are. They know what the vision is. Okay, but we don't get it down to the guys that are at the ground level. And so that is why we're asking the club president to be here, the president-elect to be here, the club trainer to be here, the board people to be here. Because the more you can expand that core group, the better chance you have into filtering it down to whoever that person is that's at the ground level. Okay, so everybody that's on this call today, I want you to take a second and think about somebody in your club, okay, like my Justin Pequeño. And I want you to think, all right, how am I going to get all of this information I learned today down to that guy so he's able to work with all the stuff that we know at the president-elect club trainer, okay? best way to do it is to do a club assembly. Okay. Update your social media. Okay. Now I know, maybe that sounds like it's kind of an obvious thing, but it's not something that's done enough. Okay. And you guys that have businesses, you're a business owner, right? That your website and your social media accounts, there's a storefront of your club. Okay. And so you guys have to set, whether it's, once a week, once a month, once whatever. Get ready, Ted. I'm going to have you to click in on this. All right. All your stuff's got to be updated, because where's the first place a prospective person is going to go? They're going to go to your social media, or they're going to go to your club website. And if the last entry in there was 2018, October, whatever, they're going to think, man, these guys can't even update their website. Okay. So all of that, you got to have a social media plan. Now, a lot of clubs say, especially if you're kind of an older club, oh, we don't know how to do that, or we don't have anybody in our club to do that. You can find somebody either inside your club or even outside your club. Okay, for a little while during the time that I was president, my granddaughter was updating all of our social media, because she could do it in 3 minutes, would take me 3 hours. Okay, so somebody knows how to do that. Ted, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'd suggest, if you don't have somebody in the club, look outside, or inside the club, try to find 2 or 3 people, so it's not all on the shoulders of one person, and that you have a backup if one person's not available or busy doing other things. It's always good to have a team. Also, if for some reason somebody leaves the club or passes away or whatever, you always want to have a second admin person on your social media accounts, so that you do not lose access to those accounts. Be sure to have some up-to-date information there. Another thing is, make sure that you have the correct Rotary branding. So in Benson's Zoom background, that Rotary logo is the one and only correct Rotary logo. If you still have a Rotary wheel that has blue and gold together in it, you are non-compliant. That was phased out 7 years ago now. We've been training you in district training, PETS training for 7 years. So it's time to fix it if you still have a blue and gold Rotary wheel in any of your social media or other branding for your club. If you need help with that, reach out to me, to Naomi, to Benson, Janet Kelly, Randy Soriano, and we'll walk you through how to use the Rotary.org Brands Center to generate the correct and compliant logo. And the last thing I would add is, I keep threatening to write a blog post entitled, "Have you stopped talking to yourself?" We still have lots of Rotary clubs in our district and in other districts that we post to social media as if we're only talking to each other. But if we have a prospective member, people in the community who hear about our club, want to know something about our club, where do you think they go nowadays to start to check us out? They go either to our web page, or they go to our Facebook account or our Instagram account. If all we have there are acronyms like TRF and DG and PETS and all of that kind of stuff, if that's all we have in our accounts, or we're writing in a club account using I did this or I thought that, instead of speaking in the voice of the club, we're not communicating with our community, with our prospective members. So think about who's the target audience. What is it you want to communicate about your club that will get that target audience interested in you and reaching out to send you an email or submit a membership inquiry saying that they want to get involved with the club or partner with the club. Thanks, Spence.
Okay, thanks, Ted. So, one of the things that when we're on a public image, I was just about to say PI, so not to be confused with Philippines, but we were on a public image call last week. And Ted was just saying, we took over the whole social media thing. Is that part of what you have to unravel is all of these clubs that had these Facebook accounts where the person who was administrator left and then didn't leave any access to the account. So what a mess that was. So yeah, please take note of that. And we're going to actually circle back at the end of this meeting and talk more about that in a little bit. Naomi, you got anything on that one?
No, really all of these ideas go into the strategic plan. And so taking notes on what these little, well, they're not little, they're big ideas, and then putting them all together in the plan is what we need to do. So start writing those ideas down, and we can start building up your plan to do the plan.
Yep. Okay, well, that's what this is all about. It's just kind of get those juices working, and then our next step is we're actually going to go through and start filling it out. Okay, number 9. Number 9 is to start getting your events going. I know in our club, we just had a board meeting the other night, and we're trying to decide, all right, is it safe to go ahead and plan something? Should we put events on the calendar? Do we need to start putting fundraising stuff out there? So now is the time where you're either going to assess whether or not a fundraiser is feasible, and you got to start planning it, putting it on the calendar. Okay, get your community service projects on the calendar. Like a lot of you guys are in clubs that do like same projects, do the dictionary same time, Salvation Army, bell ringing, whatever. Get all that stuff on the calendar. And I think, the more that you can get out there and do community service projects. Now, you don't have to do one every week, but once a month, we could probably do one. And remember that Jennifer Jones came to talk to us in December. She said that the number one reason that people join Rotary is to have some way to do meaningful service, okay? And that is what we're about. Rotary is about service above self. That's who we are. So we gotta get out there. Now, if your club has been a little dormant on that, don't want to get out there and be unsafe, think about things that you can do, because there's a lot of things that you can do where you don't have to do it together in a group. You could do it online. You could make the Kupuna packs together. Our club did that, which was a cool project. And then everybody just brought them to Central Point, and we distributed them. Then the other thing is consider new projects. Okay, new projects with new strategic partners, right? So part of our strategic plan, or our 4 areas of strategic focus, is expanding our reach. Looking for opportunities to go beyond the stuff that we're doing, right? So think about that. Plan events. All right. Right. That you know what that means. It's strategically. It's time for a break. I'm going to go through this, and then we're going to take a break because I got to probably get my diaper changed. Okay. So the last thing on that is to celebrate the transition. Okay. So if you, like our club, for example, last year we called off our inauguration, right? We got together with a tiny little group, and our president, God bless him, a few of us got together and said, hey, you're the president. We rang the bell, and that was it. And then from that point on, he's probably the first president to do all of his meetings, virtually. So get together, put on the calendar soon. Okay, when are you going to induct your incoming president? Acknowledge the efforts and accomplishments of the outgoing leadership, right? That's been there. Emphasize what your plan is. Now, if you're going to put together a plan at the level in which we're talking about right now, then you can go to your club and emphasize the strength of the plan that's ahead, right? The number one thing that I believe that leadership's job is to bring hope for growth and success to the people that you're leading. And that's the reason why you want to plan a big party. Like Keith Grizz are going to be our incoming president. And we've been talking about, oh man, let's make a big celebration. So after last year, we definitely need to have a celebration of some kind. Okay, and so that's the 10 things, and we're going to utilize the information that I just put out there to start filling in the blanks in the strategic plan. One of the things that I want you to think about is transition with purpose, right? So transition with purpose is to talk about these things like increasing our impact. Now, you guys that have been through pre-pets and pets, I mean, you're probably sick of seeing these 4 things because you just get them over and over and over again. All right, so we're going to take a quick break here for a few minutes. So what I want you to think about is this, and I went through this kind of exercise with Naomi the other day. So increase your impact. What's another way of saying that? Okay, expand your reach. What's another way of saying that? Because typically, what do, right? We define things by utilizing things, definitions that are similar, right? Okay, enhanced participant engagement. What's another way of saying that? What's another way of increasing our ability to adapt? Okay, think about that. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take about a 5-minute break. So whoever had the baby there could, attend to them. And then, we could take a little potty break. And then when we come back, we're gonna start working on our strategic plan sheet that I emailed out to you guys before. If you don't have it, no problem, because I think it's someplace in our library where we could get it. Then we'll walk through that. Okay, anybody have any questions, thoughts, ideas before we take our 5-minute break?
Hey, Benson, will you email us the presentation or send us a link for the presentation so we can download?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It'll be in the library.
And we'll post it in
The library is so expansive now. It's so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we wanted to create content so Ted could have something to post. So here we go. Okay, gang. So, hey, let's take a quick 5-minute break. We'll come back at 5 after. And then the next thing to queue up is that we're going to do, we'll go through the strategic plan. Okay. I think I need to take a break from stop talking.
Benson,
Yes.
when we come back, there's some questions, some things in the chat that I can cover.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a little break myself here. So I'll be right back. Yeah. Okay, Naomi, what time is our PI person joining us today?
10:30.
What time? 10:30?
10:30 she's on, so she'll come on about 10:15.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. Okay. So, yeah. Well, it's a good thing actually it worked out good that we didn't have to do breakout rooms because we're going to run out of time now, right? So, yeah. Okay.
Maybe you can go to your settings now and allow the breakouts.
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. Wow. You know what? This is the same thing that happened when we were at our hospitality room for pets. When I looked down there, there wasn't any way to do breakout rooms. Okay, let's see. Where do I get? I can do the setting.
You gotta set it in the admin area.
Yeah, I know. But for some reason, I thought it was already on here. So,
Yeah, I don't think it's a default
yeah.
setting.
The only the host can do the breakout rooms, but I don't have it either.
Yeah. Well, I have to change it in the settings, and I can't change it because I'm not. That's okay. No, I mean I got enough to make it go. So.
Okay, Alan, who's the old dog? Who are you calling an old dog? Benson.
They're talking to me?
That's me. That's me. I'm the old dog.
Nah, not Alan. You're not the
That's true.
I've been a Rotarian longer than most of these people on this video.
Yeah. Let's see, maximize. Hey, that's okay. That's a good thing, Alan. Man, that means you're a legacy guy. You're a senior guy.
Oh, Uncle left. Oh yeah, shucks. Uncle is going to do a Red Cross flood relief project right now.
Okay. Let's see. The action plan.
I have a question. Where would I find this strategic plan?
Okay, well, there's a lot of versions of it. I'm actually going to open up a couple of them right now, and I'll share those with you.
Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Kate, if you go to training library,
Yes.
the strategic planning worksheet is on there. On the right-hand side, we have the link. The Vibrant Club guide is there.
So,
Oh,
Naomi, what I was going to do is just open up the action plan. I'll just walk through it and fill it out, right? So people understand how to do that, right?
Okay.
See, we made the change. If I had kept it on the other Zoom account, we wouldn't have any of the issues. So yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no worry. It's just like ability to adapt. Let's see. Sure.
training library.
Okay. See, Lynn Goya always has really the great questions, right? So is there a venue for us to share? So maybe should we take a few minutes then and address some of those things in the chat?
Yeah, is everybody back?
2 more minutes, at least on my clock. I got.
Found it. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Okay, Naomi, you can, you want to get going, or why don't we just say, okay, everybody, we're going to get going. 59, 58, 57. We're going to get going in a minute. 49, 48, 47, 46. I guess that's one of your IQ tests, right? Is you try to count back from 100. I can do it, but not very fast. Okay, so we got some comments or some questions or remarks in the chat, and so before I walk through the strategic plan worksheet, we're going to have Naomi address those.
Okay.
Naomi.
Okay. Some tips. The President nominee is the president-elect that is going to be president-elect July 1st. Randy's going to be working with the president-elects well, PNs right now. And so if your club does not have a PN, it would be good to find one. But, you know, I've heard a lot of times, I wish I knew that when I started. I wish I learned about that. I wish I read the manual. So it would be good for the presidents, the current presidents, to help the president-elects with some advice, some help of the help up. And so instead of waiting for the baton to pass, try and help each other now. And then the president nominee for 22-23 under Randy's DG year, they're going to start PETS training in September. So it would be good for the incoming president to help the PN as well. Right, Randy?
Okay.
That's right, Naomi,
Yeah.
and thanks for the plug.
Okay. It's the PN is the presidential nominee. So that is the person that comes in line after the president-elect. So new acronym for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Budget allocation. So it's hard to do the budget unless you know how much you're going to get for DDF, right? So the spreadsheet is ready to go. I've asked Mark Harbison to post it to the website. Normally we get it, well, in some years we give this out at spring training, but we will send that out with the qualification documents that the president-elects need to sign. There are 3 documents that need to sign in order to get qualified for next year. Okay, so we'll have that very shortly to go out. And then Nate was asking if there's a template for budgets. We do have a template. We'll cover that in the treasurer's section in the spring training. But if you want that now, there's so many different formats of that, but Rotary does have a sample of a template for your budgeting. So at spring training, we will let the treasurer know what to budget for. So Randy would let us know how much PETS training is going to be, or pre-PETS training, and then that is what you put into your budget. Okay, and then Calvin Hara had this thing about being prepared for life, and that's planning ahead, which is a good suggestion to plan ahead. Lynn Goya is asking if there's a venue to share or gather information from other clubs so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And this is about attracting new members, celebrating outgoing members. And I think what we could do at maybe the next president-elect meeting is try and share some ideas. But as far as membership, attracting young members or attracting any kind of member, we'll have that at spring training. So please look forward to that on March 27th, April 10th, and April 17th. And we'll have the matrix of all of the sessions out very shortly. The board training manual, some of the clubs are working on a board training manual, but Benson, is that something that maybe we can work on too?
Yes. Yes, that's the answer. Is yes, we can work on that, because that's an area of focus that we want to go forward with, and you know, Lorraine has been really helpful in providing information for us. So yes, we will be developing some guidelines for board members and especially board training.
And we have a session for board members during the training assembly, and that one will cover Robert's Rules of Order for a little bit, and working with the board. So please look forward to that session as well.
Okay. Is that something we want to share with everybody, the matrix of it, or you just want to send it out later?
We can send it out later. It's
okay.
10:10. So
yeah. Okay. So let's rock and roll. Okay. So let me share screen over here, and I'll bring up this document that I've been talking about. It's right here. Hang on. Okay. So Okay, so everybody can see this. Just kind of give me the thumbs up. So this is the strategic planning guide. If you don't have a copy of this, it's on the district website. There's a location there where you can open it up. And if you don't have it available, I'm just going to walk you through it right now, just so that you have an idea of how to manage it. All right, so this is the meeting, right, that you're going to have President, PE, the president-elect, club trainer, board members, any other stakeholders, past presidents, whoever wants to be involved in this process, okay? So, so it's a flyer that looks like this. Here, it gives you Rotary's vision statement, so it's kind of a guideline. And then it goes over the strategic.
Ensign, I'm not seeing it on my screen. I'm just seeing your,
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else is. It's not open. It needs to be open.
Yeah, it looks like it's, yeah, it looks like it's
Okay.
just,
How's that one? No? Is this open on my screen? Let's see.
We're just seeing your, I don't know what you call it.
Okay, let me stop share. Let
The
me
inner,
stop.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let me stop that and see if I can get it back up again here. How's that?
The wrong screen. Oh, there you go.
You can see that, right? Okay. Well, thank you. You know, it's really good. We can depend on that feedback. So yeah, just unmute yourself and let it fly. So anyway, here's if you didn't see this, here's the strategic planning guide. This is kind of what it looks like. This is accessible on our district website or through rotary.org, or I can send it to you if you want. I had attached this to this email about this meeting. So you should have got it. If you didn't, we can get that. All right, so the planning process basically goes through 4 phases, right? Determine your status, like how is your club doing now? And there's lots of different ways that you can do that. Here's some questions that you can ask, identify strategic issues to address, what's our strengths and weaknesses. And as we scroll down through this worksheet, there'll be opportunities for you to fill it in. Phase 2 is develop a vision. What do we want our club to be like? Phase 3 is to make a plan. How can we achieve the vision? And then phase 4 is to track progress. How close are we to achieving our goals? Okay. So then it helps you to kind of get started. Assemble right here your strategic planning team. That's the first thing, right? That you want to talk about. First phase is to determine your club status. How's your club doing? So there's another form, and I believe it's in our training library as well, and it's the club health check. And some of you have already done this form, and it basically is something that you can put out to your core group, or you can put it out to all your members that talks about or allows them to give feedback about how the club is doing. So this is kind of a fillable form. So if you open it up, you can click on and start writing it out. So, some of the potential questions you want to ask your members: how do we increase membership, engage members in our club? How do we attract a diverse group of members? So right in here, so somebody throw one out here, I'll type it out. Anybody? Okay, I'll use, how will we increase Okay, so basically you start filling this in. And so it might be a session where, you bring your computer, everybody sits around, you start filling in the blanks. Okay, so the next one, after identifying strategic issues, you want to talk about your club strengths. Okay, so our club strength is that we have a good and active core group of members. Okay, then you can just make your list of things. I mean, there's good things about every single club. You're probably thinking of some right now. What are our weaknesses? Okay, for our club is that we could do a better job orienting new members. Okay, another thing we could do better is we could follow up better with new member prospects. Okay, so make a list of, this is basically your SWOT exercise, right? Strengths, weaknesses, obstacles. Okay, what are our opportunities? All right. So our opportunities now is that post-COVID, people want to get more involved in community service. Okay, so every group is going to be different. Every area of our state's going to be different. Okay, so what are the challenges? Challenges for us would be connecting with more people outside of Rotary. And as Ted mentioned, we do a really good job of talking to ourselves. We could do a better job of talking to people outside of Rotary. Okay, so you can list all your challenges there. Phase 2, it's characteristics. Okay, so characteristics is list 5 to 7 characteristics you want your club to have within 3 to 5 years. Okay, what's your vision? How do we want to be? Do we want to be innovative? How do we represent our community? Okay, so one of the characteristics we want to try to do is develop a 5-person leadership line so that, you know, we can get our club presidents down 5 deep. We want to be the club known for diversity and community outreach. Okay, you guys get the point there, right? Club characteristics. Vision statement. So then once you've assembled all of this, then you can create a vision statement. What do you want your club to look like 3 to 5 years from now? How will we know if you succeeded? What do we want to achieve? Right, and there we go. See, Bernard, everybody look at Bernard. Bernard, hold them up here. So that's the thing you were holding up. Yep, okay. You know, I see a world. That's the vision statement that starts with, you know, I see a world where communities come together. Okay, so you guys put together that vision statement. There we go. See there's Bernard. Bernard, good helper, bro. I'll give you commission after this thing is over. Okay. All right, put together a vision statement and really work on this, you know, because a lot of people put vision statements together and they throw this thing out that's, you know, maybe not really achievable, but it sounds super good. Okay, so part of what a lot of nonprofits do, right, is that they evaluate their mission, right? And you know, people like Lorraine who work in this industry know that one of the things that they're always aware of is this thing that's called mission drift, right? It's where you start floating away from your mission. So if your mission is to, you know, help communities, you know, help food, like people that are food challenged, maybe that's going to be your mission, or is to help in environmental things. Okay, and then you know, you find yourself running basketball camps, then you're like, wow, you know, that's way off of our mission. So that mission statement needs to be something that you're going to be looking at all the time. And whose responsibility is it to keep us all in line? It's the board. Okay, so that's your responsibility to keep it going. Okay, phase 3 is to make a plan. List your strategic priorities. Okay, so our strategic priorities are going to be goals that we're going to have. All right, we're going to increase our membership this year by 10% or whatever it's going to be. Okay, what are going to be our priorities? All right, what are going to be our annual goals? And you can kind of list those down here. Now, You can put strategic priorities, you can list them in here, like, okay, our first strategic priority is going to be membership, okay, or increase. Let's put increase membership, okay. Okay, and then you're going to put down the annual goals, what actions we're going to take. Now, these are all like fillable spaces, so you can fill them all in. What resources do we need? And this is the key thing right here. Okay, so member assigned for that. So, that would be like Doug Adams. I'm going to make sure he's responsible for that. And then I'm going to check in with Doug on June 30th. Okay, so remember I said when you're putting together these goals, what do you need? You need a date and you need a driver. Who's going to drive it and who's going to, what date are you going to make that person responsible for? All right, so maybe your second priority is we want to do more community outreach. All right, and then you can list those. What goals you want to put there. Third thing would be we want to have a better social media presence. I know it gets kind of small here, but you guys kind of get the hang of it, right? Put the goals down there, put the actions. What resource do you need? Do you need a budget item? Does the club need to buy a new computer? Do we need to, if we're going to do hybrid meetings, do we need a new computer? Do we need to get a new projector? What are the kinds of things that we're going to need resources to make this thing go? And once again, who's the member and what's the timeline? Okay, then track the progress. And then the goals review plan is basically when are we going to review it and what's going to be the criteria that we're going to use to review it. So up here, consider the following monitoring progress. How should we measure progress toward our goals? How should we communicate our progress to club members? Who should approve changes to action plans or annual goals? Like I said before, I think the board ought to be monitoring the progress on the goals. And then this piece right here, really important. How do we communicate our progress to our club members? Now, typically, the first meeting after Christmas break, first meeting of the year, the club president will give kind of a mid-term report. These are the goals that we set at the beginning of the year. Here's the progress we're making. Here's the community service things, events that we participated in. Here's our projects. We had a fundraising. Here's the money that we raised for fundraising. So it's about transparency and periodic transparency, so everybody in the club knows where we are as far as the goals are concerned. And I will tell you that the more that you put that information out to your club members, the more likely they are to participate, right? Because an informed Rotarian is an engaged Rotarian. Okay, so then remember that your strategic plan, it's a dynamic document, like a business plan. So it can be adjusted, it can be changed, goals can be moved around, timelines can be adjusted. Okay, but the main thing is that you have to start to treat your club like a business. And if it was your business, you would be constantly looking at the bottom line. What are our resources? How are we doing with our in communicating with our customer base, right? Are we effective? What's the feedback that we're getting? And you'll be in the best position to improve things if you're welcoming as far as feedback goes. Oh, look at Kate. Kate's got the whole strategic plan out there. Okay, and then as you put these strategic priorities together, same thing, list them down, fill the blanks in. Now, I would recommend that once all of these blanks are all filled in, that your club secretary or somebody just assembles it into one document that's easy to read, that you could put out at a club meeting and say, okay, gang, our board and our leadership got together. Here are the goals that we've, or here's our, starting with the vision. Here's our vision. Here's what our goals are for the year. These are the things that, and here's going to be the people that are going to drive these goals. Here's the dates that we're going to review them, so that you can create as much transparency as possible with where the club is going. People feel more engaged the more transparency there is within the club. And once you have this document in place, that's something that you want to be constantly looking at the board at least every quarter to make sure that the things that you do are in alignment with the action plan that you set out. Okay, so that's the basic explanation of it. Questions? You don't want to ask them out loud, put them in the chat. Everybody feel comfortable with this particular document? I'll stop share so we can start looking at people. Okay, you want to add anything to that, Naomi?
Yeah, these are things to fill out, but when you have your board all together, then you can share your ideas, because when you're talking about membership, it's not only the membership chair, it's also the public image chair and the foundation chair. You're all working together to come up with that plan and carry out that action plan. So it's not necessarily on one person, it's everybody working together to do the action plans.
Okay, good. Anybody have any other questions or comments about getting this form filled out? Now, let me tell you. Yes, go ahead.
Can I just?
Marika, you can.
Okay. I think it also depends on the circumstances of the club. For instance, in our club, every year has this visioning meeting, which with all the members, not just the board members, but all the members in which basically come to this strategic plan, normally in May or June. So if it is a small enough club, maybe everybody can get involved, and then give the SWOT analysis questionnaire beforehand, and then have some facilitator doing it. But right now, because of this COVID situation, it's difficult, to get many people in one room, and it's more cumbersome to do it, by Zoom. But I think it really depends on the circumstances too.
Right. You're absolutely right. And so this form that we put out today, that's simply an idea. I mean, it's a template. All right. So if your club traditionally has already done this and they use a different format, then use that format. If you don't have a format and your club hasn't done it, you can follow Rotary's format, which is, it's pretty easy to follow. But the main outcome that we're trying to establish here is that there's a plan. There's a plan, and that people are looking at the plan, because I participated in some of the strategic planning sessions for some of the different clubs over the course of the year, and some of the feedback they gave me is like, yeah, we do this plan every couple of years and it's awesome, it's perfect, we print it all out, and then it just goes in a drawer for 2 years. Okay, and nobody looks at it. So part of why we want to set the board up as basically the accountability sector of this plan is that somebody has to be looking at the plan, right? Because as you know, I mean, if you have a president that has some idea about the direction they want to take the club, and there's start going off on a tangent that has no connection with the plan that the board set or the membership set, then at the end of the year it's like, well, what happened? And Mariko's absolutely right. If you can get buy-in, if all of your club members, if you have a small club and they'll all come and participate in this, the more the merrier. Because like there's a ton of you guys clubs that are like under 25 people, and you put it out there. Like I did with Ari's club, Honolulu Sunset. They had it on like a Saturday afternoon at 3:00, and almost all of them showed up, and we just walked through all of these things one at a time. And at the end, we had a comprehensive plan that was going to allow them at least to go forward for the next year. So, so that's the key point. Okay, any other questions, thoughts, feedback, Yelp
I had
rating?
something.
I mean, yes, go ahead.
When we were doing this about this time last year or a little later, I went to the past presidents on a Zoom, and that ended up being a really good group to do this with.
Yes.
Because their feedback was very different than the general club, and they felt like they were all experts. So it was actually really good to get their buy-in to understand what they thought versus maybe all the members. And some of the past presidents don't even come to the Zoom meetings now, but they came to that meeting and they really wanted to have their voice. So just want to share. They're very often your biggest donors too. So make sure you hear what they're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's why on slide number 1, I put down there, you know, all of the leadership plus the past presidents. And Gwen is absolutely right. I mean, you can get a lot of information from past presidents. And then, of course, then it's just another way to engage those guys because some of them, I mean, there's this, you know, the disappearing president phenomena where the president and they kind of disappear, but you definitely want to keep those guys engaged. And one of the ways that you can do that is to continually ask for their opinion. So, okay. Naomi, I'm seeing you nodding, which basically means, okay, Benson, you're done. And it's time for me to start talking. Okay.
Well, I was just agreeing that
I know.
Especially when you've got a PDG as a past president. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Like a
Roz is full of really great information.
Yeah.
But we wanted to bring you a resource that normally you wouldn't get access to. And this is Liz. Liam, she's a Rotary International faculty a staffer, and her title is brand specialist. Okay, so they actually have someone who knows all of the rules and what logo is correct. And I thought that we could bring Liz here to kind of let us know what is correct and what we should be looking for on brand logos and merchandising. But you know, in the chat, there's a lot about the assembly. And if you already got one of the spreadsheets, a flyer, please know that some of the sessions have changed. So we will send out the final version today. Okay, so you can see what sessions are on the for spring assembly. Okay, so if we can spotlight Liz, and Liz, you can share your screen.
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me. So I'm going to share my screen, but please let me know if you're seeing when I launched the PowerPoint.
We see it.
Okay, are you seeing the good PowerPoint or the PowerPoint with my notes in it?
We're seeing the one you want us to see.
Great, thanks so much. So thanks so much for the great introduction, Naomi. It's really my pleasure to be with you today. I gave a presentation to a group that Naomi was in, and she followed up with me kindly and asked me to speak to you today. And that, to me as a staff member, really means a lot because it means that she's able to take away something that she found informative and resourceful and to come and share that with you. Unfortunately, I was supposed to come and visit you all at convention last year, but we know how that ended or began, I should say. So it is nice to join you through Zoom. And I'll just take a few minutes today to chat with you actually about something that I'm kind of building on what Benson was just talking about. In some ways, you can use what I'm going to present today as some of the strategic planning for your year ahead. So let's see, I'll start this, and then at the end, if we have time for questions and answers, that's what I'm here for as well too. So I'm happy to take them at the end. So Rotary's public image. Like Naomi said, I'm the brand specialist, and I do focus specifically on our visual identity, but that plays to this larger, broader picture of what Rotary's public image is and what your club's public image is. And I love how Benson said, we're not talking to ourselves, we're talking to the community. And I've been with Rotary for 12 years, actually, quite a while. So I've seen a lot of the culture and a lot of the autonomy that happens in clubs. And I've seen that phenomenon where we kind of talk to ourselves. But we have to remember that really, especially when it comes to our visual branding and telling our club story, we're talking to our communities. So over the years, I've also seen a lot of creative interpretation with our visual brand. I've seen things like depictions of bicycles with rotary wheels in them, or sunrise clubs that use the wheel as a sun, and on and on. I'm sure you've seen these things as well too. And I'm sure that a quick Google search can also expose you to them. But what happens when we take that creative expression is we're actually really watering down our brand. When we look at other industries, we look at, sorry. We look at Apple, we look at McDonald's, we look at even, the Red Cross, maybe even Lions International, right? They're not using their logo in those creative ways. And so today, I guess what I'm going to share with you is the importance of not doing that, but I also want to make space and make room for the folks that already know that that's not the right way to use the logo. So I'm going to go through some of the actual nuts and bolts about how to put the logos together, and then we're going to talk about how to apply that. But I do want to just start with that messaging about the sense of autonomy that clubs have, but that we are all together using a unified brand. So the importance, like I just talked about, there's other reasons why this is an important subject as well too. And one of them is because you as a steward of Rotary International have that responsibility to protect Rotary's name and our intellectual property. And when we do that, we grow our organization, we increase our impact, and we maintain that reputation that we are an organization that can be trusted. So misuse of the logo, in turn, can weaken our brand and also just develop mistrust. Secondly, the way our brand architecture is set up, when I talk about club logos, we're talking about the Rotary logo plus your club name. That's the brand architecture that we've set up. And that ensures that your clubs are getting the credit and the recognition that you deserve for the work that you're doing in your club, while also leveraging that power of Rotary's brand. And the third thing to keep in mind is that as you're telling your club's story, as you're telling a Rotary story, essentially as you're sharing with your community through your events, through your promotions, and through the things that you do in your community to make an impact and be those people of action in your community, you want to ensure that you're doing that in a consistent way so that your community and the general public have that same experience with Rotary, no matter where they are in the world. Okay, so I know that I can't see you right now, but let's pretend we're in the room. I do know that some members' eyes start to glaze over a little bit when we talk about this subject, because to many members, they're here to quote unquote do Rotary, and this to them is not doing Rotary. Sometimes this just doesn't elevate to that level of importance, but I want to let you know that without a strong public image, I hate to say this, but your membership drives won't be as strong. Your raising money for the foundation won't be as strong. And so all those three things really have to be strong and consistent if we're going to make an impact and if you're going to have these vibrant clubs. So I want to reassure you that you are comfortable with the content that I'm going to share today, because you may receive some pushback a little bit from your clubs as you go and impart this information on them. And essentially, after today, I want to ensure that you're like a brand champion. You understand the brand, you understand why it's important to use it correctly, and you can help others as well too. Remember that you're the leaders in your clubs, so you set the tone, you set the example, and I'm here to just provide the resources to help you to do that. So I'm going to start back a bit where this all started, and I like to show folks visual representations of our retired logo and our current logo. Sometimes folks, I still see the retired logo being used, and this was updated in 2013. So either they don't know how to do it, they haven't gotten the message to do it, or sometimes they don't see the difference. And I understand all of those three scenarios. So on the left, you'll see what we referred to as, the old rotary wheel, the retired rotary wheel, and then we have the current wheel over on the current logo on the right, I should say. So here is a slide. We're digging in just a little bit deeper now on the terminology and the specifics of our logo. So the two logos on the left are called the master brand signatures, and the logo on the right is called the mark of excellence. So our master brand signature is always going to be our leading and our official Rotary logo. There's two versions of them, the one on top and then the one on the bottom, which is called simplified, which really just, you can see that the wheel is more simplified. It doesn't have the Rotary International in the middle. So I want to mention that the mark of excellence, the wheel alone, is like a secondary logo. It's not a primary logo anymore. It's a secondary logo. So your primary logo is the one with the Rotary word, what we call it, the Rotary word mark and the wheel, that together as one logo. Then the mark of excellence, or the Rotary wheel, is to be used as a secondary logo. And generally the rule of thumb would be that you've used the master brand signature, or in your case, your club logo. You've used that somewhere, let's say on a flyer, and then to reinforce, if you'd like, but you certainly don't have to reinforce our branding and logo, you can use the mark of excellence. So I just anecdotally still see a lot of flyers where folks are just using that mark of excellence alone. And so I understand the confusion, but that's why I guess I'm here today to explain the differences between those two. You'll also notice that there is no mark of excellence that is simplified. So a wheel with no words inside it is not an official Rotary logo. It does not exist. So as we talk about the club logo, I've referred to that a couple times already. This is what I mean by that. That is, of course, the Rotary logo with the addition of your club name. In your case, I see a lot of your Zooms back there with your district number in there. Zones can use it as well too. And usually you would add the club name underneath the Rotary logo, but not always. So however the word Rotary falls in your club name is how you can use it. So I have that example here of the Sunrise Kampala Rotary Club. And I believe there's even some clubs in Scandinavia where the whole name is on the top actually as well too. So in the brand center, which I'll talk about in a bit, you'll see different layout options depending on where you want to add your club name to the logo. You'll also notice here that I've used both the master brand signature and the simplified signature as examples. And really those are just preference. That's just preference, whichever one you'd like to use. I've noticed some clubs do have the Rotary logo on the left, and then they have a line, and then they put their club name on the right. And while I understand that that used to be an option in the brand center, we've further developed our brand architecture to allow for showing partnerships. So if a club is partnering with, let's say, their local YMCA, in this case, an organization maybe called Helping Hands, this is how you would show that partnership. So if you do have your club name over on the right, I do want you to update that and put it over on the left so that you can use these are called lockups. I don't want to bore you with brand terminology, but you can use that type of locking up or joining of of two organizations together through this type of use. You can also use this lockup or this partnership layout if you are promoting one of your annual events. Maybe you have an event called the Taste of Honolulu and something like that. So you can put your events over there. You can put your sponsorships over there, your partnerships, and any programs that you run as well too. So I took a moment before I met with you guys today, and I found some great examples of clubs in your district that are doing it right. And I just took some screenshots and threw them up here. So your e-club had really strong branding. I just looked at your websites. They had really strong branding on their website, and I love to see that. So you can see here that the name of the club sits right under the Rotary wheel, and that they clearly went to our brand center to create that logo. And then this club as well too. This was taken from their website. So great job to that club. So now we're going to talk about taking action. So I just mentioned that I saw those logos on the website, but here are all the other places where you're using that Rotary logo, and sometimes you're not even aware of it. So I actually went to an event in my hometown recently, and I saw like 4 or 5 different uses, applications, and variations of the Rotary wheel being used. And that tells me that, you know, the club is super engaged, obviously. They're doing great work. They take pride in their identity, but nobody had probably taken an audit, like a full, thorough audit to ensure that everything was being updated. So you're going to want to take a look at your website, your social media sites, your banners that you create for events, and even the signs that you would create for events. I know, like, if you hold annual events, you're pulling out that same sign, right? And so if it has that old wheel on it, now is the time to update that sign with your club logo. Signs outside or as you're entering your towns, usually we're still seeing the old wheels there. Any flyers, brochures, both digital and in paper that you're putting together to promote events. Apparel and goods. So I'll come back to this in a second. And then things that are just kind of a little more internal, your name badges and your trading banners. Those are things that usually Rotarians just come in contact with. So the point of me mentioning all this stuff is again, to build on what Benson said. So you would take a look at everything you have and then decide what should be updated now, what can be updated now, what you need to budget for, and what can come, you know, a little bit later. So while I would love for you, you know, to update brochures or something like that, if you still have some and you need to get rid of them, that's fine. Just the next time that you go to print more, update the brochure. The apparel and licensed goods. So these are things that you can order from an official Rotary licensed vendor. These are things that you do not necessarily have to have your club logo on, but you certainly can if you'd like. So anybody can go to a Rotary licensed vendor and order a polo shirt with the Rotary logo on it. And the reason that we want you to use a licensed vendor is because those vendors follow our guidelines. So when you're out there kind of in the Rotary world and you see folks wearing things that you know are kind of homemade, it's because they didn't go to a Rotary licensed vendor. And those vendors actually legally don't have the right to produce our protected trademarks. So I understand that licensed vendors are not always readily available, or they may not carry the merchandise that you're looking for. So we absolutely have a process where you can work with any vendor you'd like, but they just need to receive a waiver or an exception from us. And I can follow up with you with that link if that's something that interests you. And then that just goes to our licensing department. And we do a quick logo check to ensure that what they're producing is on brand. So this list that I'm giving you is really kind of like an audit of where you can start to take a look at everything that your club is doing and prioritize. Identify first what needs to be updated and then prioritize that. And here's how you can take action as a leader in your club. Ensure that you're appointing a really engaged and dynamic club public image chair. There's lots of resources available to this chair, but I know sometimes it's a challenge to find those resources. Again, that's why I'm there, is to help link people to these things. Actually, Rotary International will start capturing that club public image chair soon. So we will be able to directly email them and contact them with resources. So there's, for example, an online learning suite of 4 different online courses about Rotary's brand. One is very specific to how to use the logos, and it goes through the brand center, and it goes through do's and don'ts and best practices. We also want to make this, again, manageable for your clubs, and I can't stress that enough. That's how we're going to impede maybe any resistance that starts, and that would be to kind of bite this off in manageable pieces. So, you know, creating a budget and looking at how much it takes to make updates is great. And I just want to say that, you know, for the most part, digital updates are free. It's just that folks need to know how to use the brand center to make those updates, and how to use Club Runner too, which I think Naomi mentioned you had a training this morning. And you should always know that you have a resource in your district public image chair, and they're always there to help you as well. So I know I keep referring to the brand center. This is a microsite on my Rotary. We're working to develop a refreshed and easier to use brand center right now. I know it can be a little clunky to use, but I am there to help you. This is my contact information, brand@rotary.org. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I can point you in the right direction or give you what you need to get going. So with that, I think that's about it. And let me get out of here. No, let's see, how do I unshare? Oh boy.
Usually at the top.
I got it. So questions for Liz, anybody?
Are you, I'm not sharing anymore, right?
Right.
Thanks.
Can we put the email contact in the chat?
Yep. You bet. It's real easy. It's just brand@rotary.org. Any questions or feedback? This is, I love this opportunity to hear feedback as well too, like how we can make things easier for you, what you would like to see more of. I want to hear all that too.
Hey, Liz, thanks a lot. You know, I just want to acknowledge our public image team, Ted especially, who's been trying to like banging on this door for like the last 7 years, trying to get everybody compliant. Yeah, it's just like, listen. So that was really good. You know, that's a very simple, succinct, right to the point. This is what it is, and this is what it isn't. And so that's great information, and that stuff, you know, as we know, you know, we learn by repetition. So we're just gonna keep ringing the bell, you know, singing the song. So yeah, really appreciate how clear and simple that was.
Great, thanks. Thanks to Ted in advance.
Liz, a question. So are you saying that we can't use a logo that we created ourselves for our own club, or that we just can't use the Rotary logo that's incorrectly designed?
That's a really great question. You really can't use a logo that you've created yourself. What you could do is use that like maybe as a secondary option, because I know like often clubs create these things to show their own uniqueness or their own theme. And so using that in a graphic application, I guess is okay. But my point is that there's over 35,000 clubs, right? And so the general public, they know who we are. But we're so much stronger when those 35,000 clubs are using the exact same visual branding. And so if we had 35,000 clubs using their own logo with some incorporation of Rotary in there somewhere, it still really muddies down, waters down our brand. So that's the answer. And to the second part is you wouldn't want to just use Rotary's logo, since that is the logo of Rotary International. Now,
Right.
there is a time and place, like I said, like you can get shirts with the Rotary logo on it. If you've already used your club logo predominantly on something, and let's say, you know, you want to put it like on a PowerPoint or something like that, that's fine. But your primary club logo is the one that I've shown you today.
Now, I understand that that helps strengthen the brand image of Rotary International and Rotary itself. But have you heard anybody complain about the possibility of how it dilutes the individuality of a particular club, because you've got so many clubs in a particular area that all start with the Rotary Club of Honolulu, Sunset, Honolulu,
Sure.
Honolulu Sunrise,
Sure.
and Sunrise, Sunset, people get those all mixed up. And if they all look exactly alike, doesn't that kind of dilute and make it so that we have less individuality than we did before?
Well, I think that's a really good point. I think I would just tie it back to the fact that you're still leveraging that Rotary logo. And so I think that as somebody from the general public, and not maybe from your community, but let's say somebody who is like all of us, travels around, when they're coming in contact with those different logos and they're all similar, that's going to make more of an impact than like, oh, that one club had like a mountain and then the sun was coming up, and then that other club had like an ocean. And so like by having those two different logos, that's not capitalizing on a unified brand. So I do see what you're saying. I haven't heard any feedback about similar club names and that causing confusion. And I think I'll just add to that, that in our guidelines, it does say that you can create a logo for however you are referred to locally. So it doesn't always have to be your charter name. And if you do call yourself something different in your community rather than what's on your charter, that's okay to put on your club logo. But thanks for that feedback. I think it's great feedback.
Yeah, I do want to mention, Liz, thank you, that you see all of these backgrounds that are on there. Yeah, so you can see how creative they are, and Ted and other people in our district developed those, and they all have, like, if you look at Ted's, it's got the Hawaiian flag, but he still has that Rotary logo. That's correct. And there's one behind me. There's one behind Naomi. I mean, many people have that. So I think the creativity is really, in whatever background or context you want to put it in, as long as what you're saying, as long as that Rotary logo is consistent. I mean, Ted's done a really good job at creating some, amazing backgrounds.
Yeah,
that have the Rotary.
That's exactly right. I don't want to dissuade you from being creative and using those creative graphics that you may have to show your individuality. It's just that the Rotary logo is just not the place to show that creativity.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a great question. Thank you.
Okay, well, hey, we're about in the closing minute or so. You have any last things, Naomi, before we wind up? But Liz, thank you so much. That was terrific. Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if anybody has a question about your logo and you want Liz to take a look at it, just send her an email with that logo and she'll let you know if it's okay or not. I'll let you know that the district websites were all reviewed by our specialists, the people assigned to our district, and our district logo was not okay because of space limitation. We had the word District 5000 over the wheel, which is not okay.
Yeah.
So we had to change it, but that was because of space limitation. But Liz also had a suggestion when you're making t-shirts to put people of action under your club logo. So that's another thing that you can do. But if you're doing t-shirts on your own, you're not using a licensed vendor, please do the permission form that from Rotary, because the Rotary logo is licensed. It's trademarked. So it's Rotary's trademark. We need to respect what the rules are on that. And they would like all of us to review our assets, our brochures and things by June 22 and see if we can make those changes soon, because it has been 7 years since they updated the logos. Okay, so really good asset right here in Liz that you can use her as a resource if you have any questions. Okay, but thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for going through the Vibrant Club workshop. We hope that you can do a Vibrant Club workshop in your own club soon and get the input from all of your members. Okay, and we'll have another session where we can exchange ideas and share best practices.
Okay.
Vincent?
Yep. Final word, gang. Continuity builds success. So we gotta, try to think long term now. We put a lot of things in motion today. Now, if you need help in your specific club, reach out to me. Reach out to Naomi. If putting together this strategic planning session looks like it's going to be a challenge, reach out to us. We're glad to come in, help you organize it, get a plan done. The main point of today's session is we're going to organize a plan. We're going to have a plan going forward and then finish strong. Okay. Hey, thanks for 2 hours of your time Saturday morning. We know that some of you sacrificed a lot to be here today. So really appreciate that. Next week, we start our spring training. Okay. Take care. Aloha, everybody. And end meeting for all.